Captain Minu stood on the bridge of the and watched the stars. His ship had traveled farther from Earth than any human vessel before. The communications array had picked up something strange 3 days ago. A signal, not from Earth, not from any human colony, something else. "Captain, the signal is getting stronger," said Lieutenant Shin from the tactical station. The young officer's face showed excitement mixed with worry. "I'm reading multiple ships ahead, big ones." Minu nodded slowly. This was the moment humanity had wondered about for centuries. Were they alone in the universe? The answer was about to arrive. "Dr. Park, are you ready?" Minu asked. Dr. Park looked up from her scanner. She was the best on Earth, though she had never actually met an alien before. Nobody had. "As ready as I'll ever be, Captain. The first contact protocols are loaded. I just hope they want to talk." "If they don't, that's why I'm here," said, his hand resting near the weapons console. The flickered and cleared. What appeared made the entire bridge crew gasp. A ship hung in space before them, but it looked nothing like the... It was beautiful, curved and flowing like a piece of art. Soft lights glowed along its surface in colors humans had no names for. "Incoming transmission," the communications officer called out. "Put it through," Minu ordered. The screen changed. A being appeared that looked almost like a tall, thin bird covered in soft purple feathers. Its eyes were large and dark, gentle and curious. When it spoke, the computer translated the sounds into Korean, then English, then a dozen other languages. "Greetings, unknown vessel. I am ambassador of the people speaking for the Galactic Concord. We detected your presence and wish to welcome you peacefully. What species are you? From which world do you come?" Minu stepped forward. He had practiced this moment 1,000 times. "I am Captain Minu of the human species from the planet Earth, which we also call Terra. We come in peace and seek friendship with other civilized beings." His feathers ruffled in what the computer identified as pleasure. "Humans, Earth, how wonderful! We shall arrange a proper meeting. Please follow our ship to a neutral location. We have much to discuss." They followed the alien vessel called Harmonious Dawn to a small moon. Both ships landed and airlocks connected. Minu and walked through wearing their dress uniforms. They had debated whether to bring weapons, had insisted. He wore a sidearm on his hip, though he promised to keep it holstered. The airlock opened into a chamber that took their breath away. Plants from 100 worlds grew in beautiful gardens. Water flowed in streams that gravity. Soft music played from somewhere. And there were aliens, many aliens. Some looked like the bird-like. Others resembled insects or fish or things that had no comparison to Earth life. But all of them moved slowly and carefully. They spoke in soft voices. They seemed gentle, peaceful, almost fragile. Ambassador approached with several other beings. "Welcome, humans. Let me introduce the Concord Council representatives who have gathered to meet you." For 2 hours they talked, explained human history, culture, and technology. The aliens listened with growing interest and some confusion. Finally, one of them, a being that looked like a floating jellyfish, asked a question. "Dr. Park, you mention wars in your history, multiple wars. Why would your species fight itself?" Hesitated. "Resources, territory, different beliefs. We've had many conflicts, but we've learned from them. We've been at peace globally for 70 years now." The council members made sounds of distress. Feathers flattened against his body. 70 years, that is all. We have not known war for 14,000 cycles." Shifted uncomfortably. His hand moved closer to his weapon, just a reflex, but every alien in the room noticed. Several backed away. "Lieutenant Shin means no harm," Minu said quickly. "It's just a habit from his training." "Training for what?" asked another council member, a small blue creature with 6 eyes. "Military training," answered honestly. "I was a soldier before I joined the space program." The room went very quiet. Finally spoke again, his voice careful. Tell us about your world, Captain. What is Earth like? Minyu smiled, thinking of home. It's beautiful. We have great oceans, tall mountains, deep forests. The gravity is strong, keeps us fit. The weather changes with seasons, snow in winter, heat in summer. We have many animals, some quite large and dangerous, but we've learned to live alongside them. He didn't notice how every alien in the room had gone very still. Continued, trying to be helpful. Earth's gravity is 9.8 meters per second squared. Our atmospheric pressure at sea level is 101.325. We have earthquakes, volcanoes, hurricanes, tornadoes. The temperature ranges from -90 to +58 degrees Celsius depending on location and season. One of the council members made a choking sound. Another actually fainted. Feathers had turned almost white. What class world is this Earth? He asked, his voice shaking. Checked her notes. Well, according to your classification system that you shared, I think it would be Class 12. Is that significant? The room exploded into noise. Aliens speaking over each other in dozens of languages. The computer struggled to translate. Words like "and impossible" and "how do they survive" kept coming through. Raised a wing arm for silence. Humans, he said carefully. A Class 12 world is the highest danger classification we have. Most conquered species come from Class 2 or Class 3 worlds. I myself am from a Class 1 world. No species in the conquered comes from anything higher than Class 6. Your world would kill most of us in minutes. Minyu and looked at each other. This explained so much about the aliens' fragility, their gentle natures, their shock at human history. We didn't know, said softly. Earth is just home to us. We thought all life-bearing planets would be similar. His feathers slowly returned to their purple color. He was clearly thinking hard. This changes many things. The conquered has never encountered a species from such a harsh world. We must discuss what this means. But, he paused, looking at the three humans with new eyes, you said you come in peace. Despite your world making you strong and hard, you choose peace. Minyu nodded firmly. We learned the hard way that peace is better than war. We want friends among the stars, not enemies. His feathers rose in what might have been a smile. Then perhaps there is hope. The conquered will vote on your application for membership. It may take time. Some will fear you, but I will speak in your favor. Any species that survives a Class 12 world and still chooses kindness has earned at least a chance. As the humans returned to their ship, whispered to Minyu, Captain, did you see how they looked at us? Like we're monsters. Minyu sighed. We're not monsters, Lieutenant, we're just different, they'll learn. But as the departed, Minyu wondered if the Galactic Conquered was ready for humanity. More importantly, he wondered if humanity was ready for a universe that had never known a species quite like them. The signal went out across conquered space that night. A new species had been found. From predators who claimed to want peace, the galaxy would never be the same. 3 months had passed since first contact. The Galactic Conquered had voted, and humanity received probationary membership. It was not the warm welcome Earth had hoped for, but it was a start. Now humans were scattered across conquered space, learning and working alongside aliens who still seemed nervous around them. Ambassador Lee sat in her office on conquered Station Sigma and rubbed her tired eyes. The station orbited a beautiful blue planet called of Ambassador's People. Its job was to help humans and aliens understand each other. It was harder than she had expected. Ambassador, we have another situation, her assistant said through the intercom. Sighed, what happened this time? It's engineer. He's in the medical bay again. Was a maintenance engineer, one of 50 humans working on the station. He was good at his job, maybe too good. He took risks that made the alien workers nervous, headed to the medical bay, wondering what trouble had found now. She found him sitting on an examination table, arguing with a doctor. His right arm had a long cut across it, bleeding slowly. The doctor looked ready to faint. It's just a scratch, was saying. I've had worse from paper cuts. Paper cuts, the doctor squeaked. You have paper on your world that cuts flesh. Why would you make such a thing? Stepped in, doctor, what happened? The doctor pointed at with a shaking wing feather. He was repairing a power coupling in Section 7. A panel fell on him. A metal panel. It should have killed him or at least broken bones, but he just pushed it off and kept working. Then he cut his arm on the sharp edge and he laughed. Shrugged, it wasn't that heavy. Maybe 20 kilos, and the cut isn't deep. The doctor made a sound of distress. 20 kilos. I weigh 12 kilos. That panel was nearly twice my body weight. Understood the problem now. She had seen it before. What seemed normal to humans was incredible and frightening to most conquered species. Please let the doctor treat your wound, and try to be more careful. You're scaring everyone. I am being careful, protested, but he held out his arm for treatment. The doctor applied a bandage, though his feathers never stopped trembling. I don't understand humans. Your bodies are so strong, yet you damage them so casually. And you heal. You actually heal from injuries. Blinked, don't all species heal? No, the doctor said. Most of us must regrow damaged tissue in specialized tanks over many cycles. Natural healing is very rare in the conquered, but you humans just knit yourselves back together. As left, promising to be more careful, added another note to her report. The list of human abilities that shocked aliens was growing longer every day. Down in the station's medical center, Dr. Song was having her own cultural exchange. She was demonstrating human medical procedures to a group of alien doctors. They watched with horror and fascination as she explained vaccination. So you take a disease, one doctor said slowly, and you weaken it but not too much, and then you inject it into healthy humans, on purpose. Nodded. Yes, it teaches our immune system to fight the disease. It's very safe and effective. Immune system, another doctor asked. What is that? Spent the next hour explaining how human bodies constantly fought off bacteria, viruses, and other threats. The alien doctors looked more disturbed with each fact. You have billions of bacteria living inside you right now, one asked, backing away from. Are you infected? Should we quarantine you? No, laughed. They're helpful bacteria. They help us digest food. All humans have them. Actually, all Earth life shares space with microorganisms. The doctors held an emergency conference in the corner, speaking in rapid whistles and clicks. Finally, their leader approached carefully. Dr. Song, your world must be very hostile if your bodies need such extreme defenses. Do you ever feel safe? Thought about it. I guess we don't think about it. Earth is home. We're adapted to it. That evening, called a meeting of all humans on the station. 50 people crowded into the conference room. Looked at each face, seeing the confusion and frustration that mirrored her own feelings. I know this is difficult, she began. We came to the stars hopping to find friends and equals. Instead, we found people who think we're monsters. We're not monsters, said firmly. We're just from a tougher world. I know that, you know that, but they don't understand yet. Pulled up a report on the screen. This week alone, we've had 15 incidents. This accident was one. Others include accidentally breaking a door by pushing it too hard, someone eating spicy food that made nearby aliens evacuate the cafeteria thinking there was a chemical attack, and a human watching an action movie in public that caused 3 aliens to need therapy. The room was quiet, then spoke up. So what do? Pretend to be weak, hide who we are. No, said, but we need to be aware. Every action we take is being watched and judged. The Conquered Council is meeting next week to discuss humanity's status. Some want us expelled. They say we're too dangerous. That's not fair, protested. We haven't hurt anyone, we're trying to help. I know, and we have allies. Ambassador has been wonderful, but fear is hard to fight with logic. Looked at her people. I need you all to be patient, be kind. Show them that strength doesn't mean cruelty. The humans agreed, though could see the hurt in their eyes. They had come so far, worked so hard, only to be feared for things they couldn't change. Later that night, stood at an observation window looking out at the stars. Approached quietly, his feathers rustling softly. "Ambassador Lee, may I join you?" "Of course, please." They stood in silence for a moment, then spoke. "I have been thinking about humans. My people are afraid of you, but I find myself fascinated. On we have no predators, no dangerous weather, no diseases that our bodies must fight. Life is peaceful and gentle." "That sounds nice," said honestly. "It is, but it is also limiting," looked at her with his large, dark eyes. "We have not faced a real challenge in thousands of years. We have grown comfortable, perhaps too comfortable. Then humans arrive and you show us what life can forge from hardship, strength, resilience, the will to overcome." "You make it sound noble," said, "but it's just survival. We didn't choose to be this way." "No, but you chose what to do with it. You could have used your strength to conquer. Instead, you seek peace." Feathers rose in his version of a smile. "That is why I argue for humanity in the council. Not because you are strong, but because you are strong and choose gentleness." Felt tears in her eyes. "Thank you, that means more than you know." "There will be more difficulties ahead," warned. "Not everyone in the conquered sees what I see, but I believe humanity has a place among the stars. You just need time to prove it." As Left looked back at the stars, somewhere out there was Earth, a little blue marble spinning in the dark. That had given birth to a species that dreamed of peace. She thought of, cheerfully working despite his injury. Of patiently teaching alien doctors about human biology. Of all the humans trying so hard to fit into a galaxy that didn't understand them. They would prove themselves. It would take time, patience, and probably more misunderstandings. But humanity hadn't survived Earth by giving up easily. They would find their place among the stars, one day at a time. The message went out through conquered space that night, spreading from station to station, world to world. The humans were strange. The humans were strong. The humans were frightening. But the humans were also kind. And perhaps, just perhaps, they were exactly what the peaceful galaxy needed, even if no one knew it yet. Commander stood on the bridge of the Soul's Pride and listened to the distress call for the third time. The voice was frightened and breaking up with static. Pirates were attacking their colony on IV. People were dying. "How far are we from IV?" asked his navigator. 3 hours at maximum speed, Commander." "Then take us to maximum speed. Tactical Officer Bay, prepare all weapons." Bay looked up from her console, her eyes sharp. "Finally, I was getting tired of patrol duty." The Soul's Pride was a human patrol ship, assigned to protect the outer regions of conquered space. For 6 months, they had seen nothing but empty space and peaceful traders. Now, finally, they had a mission. Opened a channel to the conquered defense forces. An officer appeared on screen, looking panicked. "Please, human ship, you must help. The pirates have 6 vessels attacking our colony. We sent our defense force, but they are losing. Many are already dead." "We're coming," said firmly. 3 hours, hold on." 3 hours, the officer's feathers drooped. That may be too late. Cut the connection and turned to his crew. "I know what you're thinking. The Conquered has rules about combat, minimum force, attempt negotiation first, avoid casualties." He paused. "Those rules were written by people who never faced real violence. We follow them when we can, but those colonists are dying. I won't let rules kill innocent people." The crew nodded. They understood. They were all military, former Earth Defense Forces. They had joined the space program to explore, but they remembered how to fight. 3 hours felt like 3 years. Finally, IV appeared on The colony was burning. 6 large pirate ships hung in orbit, firing down at the settlement. 2 conquered defense vessels floated nearby, dead in space, their crews likely evacuated or worse. "Target the closest pirate ship," Fire when ready. The Soul's Pride opened fire. Missiles streaked through space, followed by rounds moving at tremendous speed. The pirate ship's shields flickered and died. The second volley tore through its hull. The ship broke apart in a silent explosion. On the remaining pirate vessels, alarms were screaming. The pirates were not used to real resistance. Conquered ships usually ran away or surrendered. This small human ship had just destroyed one of their vessels in seconds. "Target the next ship," ordered calmly. But the pirates were already moving, bringing their weapons to bear on the Soul's Pride. They fired everything they had. Energy beams and missiles filled the space between the ships. Fingers danced across her console, deploying countermeasures, evasive pattern delta. The Soul's Pride twisted through space like a dancer. Most of the pirate weapons missed. The few that hit were absorbed by shields that had been designed to withstand asteroid impacts at high speed. "Their shields are stronger than expected," reported, switching to armor-piercing rounds. The next volley from the Soul's Pride used tungsten rods accelerated to a fraction of light speed. They punched through the second pirate ship's shields and hull like they were paper. The ship vented atmosphere and spun away, crippled. The remaining 4 pirate ships broke formation. They had realized something was wrong. This wasn't how space combat worked in conquered space. Battles were supposed to be slow, careful exchanges while diplomats negotiated. But the humans weren't negotiating. They were destroying. "Commander, 3 pirate ships are fleeing," the navigator reported. "One is moving to intercept us." Smiled grimly. "They want to board us, let them try. Marine Leader Park, prepare your squad." Down in the Marine Bay, Park was already armored and armed. His 12 Marines were ready, standing by the airlock. They had trained for this. 6 months of peace hadn't made them forget. The pirate ship latched onto the Soul's Pride with a magnetic grapple. Cutting torches began burning through the hull. The pirates were large, 4-armed creatures covered in thick scales. They thought themselves fierce warriors. They poured through the breach, roaring battle cries. They died in seconds. Marines used weapons designed for Earth gravity and human strength. Weapons that fired rounds that could stop a charging elephant. Against the pirates' armor, they were devastating. They tried to fight back, but they moved slowly in what they thought was normal gravity. To them, the Soul's Pride felt heavy. To the humans, it was light, almost comfortable. 8 Marines held the corridor while 4 moved forward. The pirates fell back, confused and frightened. They had boarded hundreds of ships before. Conquered species usually surrendered or hid. But these humans fought with a speed and violence that seemed impossible. "Breach sealed," reported 2. "Hostiles neutralized. 12 enemy casualties, 0 friendly casualties." "Good work, return to station." On the bridge, watched the last pirate ship trying to flee. "Disable their engines. I want prisoners to question." "Yes, Commander." The spoke again. Precise shots took out the pirate ship's engine pods. The vessel went dark, drifting. Opened a channel to the colony. A face appeared, covered in soot and tears. "This is Commander of the Soul's Pride. The pirate attack has been stopped. You're safe now." They stared at him. "How? We called for help 3 hours ago. Our defense ships were destroyed in minutes. How did you?" "We'll send medical teams to help with the wounded. Sit tight." As the channel closed, reported, "Commander, I'm picking up multiple signals. Conquered ships are arriving. A lot of them." Within an hour, 20 conquered vessels surrounded the Soul's Pride. Ambassador's ship was among them. He appeared on his feathers raised high. "Commander, we received the distress call and came as fast as we could. But it seems you've already resolved the situation." "We did what was necessary, Ambassador." Looked at the debris of the destroyed pirate ships, at the crippled vessel drifting nearby, at the Soul's Pride barely scratched despite facing 6 enemy vessels. "Commander, the pirates have terrorized the outer colonies for decades. Our defense forces could never stop them. They were too aggressive, too violent. We lost many ships trying. They're not that tough, muttered. Heard her? To you, perhaps not, but to us. He paused. The conquered council will want a full report. Some will be pleased that the pirates were stopped. Others will be frightened by how easily you stopped them. We defended innocent people, said. That's all. I know, and I am grateful truly. But you must understand, Commander, in all of conquered history, we have never seen combat like this. You destroyed or crippled 6 ships in less than 30 minutes. You boarded a vessel and won. These are things we thought impossible. Was quiet for a moment. Ambassador, the galaxy is bigger than the conquered. There are threats out there you haven't faced yet. Today was easy because we were ready and they weren't. But what happens when real danger comes? Danger that won't run away. Feathers flattened. What do you mean? They will be back and they'll bring more ships. They've been humiliated. Pirates don't forget that. The ambassador looked frightened. Then what do we do? You let us help. You let humanity train your defense forces. You let us show you how to protect what you've built. His voice was firm but not unkind. You've created something beautiful in the conquered, a peaceful civilization. But peace needs guardians, ambassador. Let us be those guardians. Was silent for a long time. Finally, he spoke. I will bring your words to the council. I cannot promise they will listen. Many fear humans more than they fear pirates. Then help them understand. We're not your enemies. We're the friends who will stand between you and the dark. As Ship departed, sat back in his chair, looked at him questioningly. Think they'll accept our help, Commander? Eventually, after the pirates come back. You're sure they'll return? Nodded. I know how people like to think. Pride and profit are everything. We took both from them today. They'll want revenge. He looked at the stars, wondering how many other threats lurked out there. The conquered had lived in peace for so long that they had forgotten violence existed. But humanity remembered. Earth had taught them well. Sometimes the only way to preserve peace was to be ready for war. The message spread through conquered space faster than light. The humans had fought pirates and won. The gentle species whispered in fear and awe. And far away, in dark corners of the galaxy, the warlord heard the news and began planning his revenge. Admiral Sara stood in the command center deep beneath Sol and watched the screens with cold eyes. 300 ships were approaching Earth. It was the largest pirate fleet anyone had ever seen. The warlord himself led them, hungry for revenge. Admiral Conquered Ambassador is calling again, her aide said. Sara took the call, appeared, his feathers pale with stress. Admiral, please reconsider. Evacuate Earth. The conquered can relocate your people to safe worlds. You cannot fight that many ships. Ambassador, we appreciate your concern, but this is our home. We're not leaving. Then let us help. We can send ships, weapons, resources. Sara shook her head gently. Your ships would only die here. We've seen how the conquered fights. No offense, but it won't work against this enemy. We need to do this our way. Your way, his voice cracked. You have 40 ships, they have 300. The mathematics are impossible. Mathematics don't account for human stubbornness, Sara said with a small smile. Trust us, and pray for us if your people do that. She ended the call before could argue more. Around the command center, officers worked at their stations. Every screen showed information, ship positions, weapons status, defense grids, thousands of pieces of data flowing together into one picture. Doctor, status on our special preparations. Doctor looked up from her workstation. She was a civilian, a psychology professor who had been drafted for a very specific purpose. The broadcasts are ready, Admiral. Once they enter the system, they'll hear everything I've prepared. Will it work? Smiled darkly. They're pirates, not soldiers. They fight for profit and glory. I'm about to make them doubt both. High above Earth in orbit, Commander prepared the Soul's Pride for battle. Beside his ship, 39 other human vessels waited. Against 300 enemies, the odds seemed insane, but had studied the battle plans. He trusted Admiral Sora, and he remembered something his grandfather had taught him long ago. The enemy gets a vote, but so do you. All ships report ready, Commander, Bay said from Tactical. Good, now we wait. The fleet arrived at the edge of the solar system 3 hours later. They came out of faster-than-light travel in a massive formation, ships of all sizes clustered together. The warlord's flagship was enormous, 10 times larger than any human vessel. The warlord broadcast on all frequencies. Humans, you destroyed my ships, you killed my warriors. Now I will destroy your pathetic world and everyone on it. Surrender and I might let some of you live as slaves. Instead of a reply, the fleet heard something else. Music, strange, haunting music from Earth. Then Doctor's voice speaking in the language. Warlord, you are making a mistake. You come to attack us, do you know what that means? Let me explain. Images appeared on every screen. Earth's oceans with massive creatures swimming in them. Earth's volcanoes erupting with terrible force. Earth's storms, hurricanes that could destroy cities. Earth's animals, predators with teeth and claws that could kill with ease. This is the world that made humanity, a world that tried to kill them every single day. They didn't just survive, they conquered it. They tamed fire, they climbed the food chain, they became the apex predator of their entire planet. The warlord laughed. You think images scare us? We are warriors. Are you? His voice was calm, almost kind. Then why are 200 of your ships powered by stolen, conquered technology? Why do your weapons come from 3 different manufacturers? None of them. You're not warriors. You're scavengers who prey on the weak. Some of the ships began talking to each other on their private channels, had studied their culture. She knew how to find the cracks. The warlord roared in anger. Enough talk, all ships advance, destroy every human vessel. The pirate fleet surged forward, 300 ships moving toward Earth. On the human vessels, crews tensed, but they followed the plan. All ships fall back to the asteroid belt, Admiral Sora ordered. The 40 human ships retreated, leading the pirates deeper into the solar system. They followed, eager for blood. They didn't notice the small objects floating among the asteroids until it was too late. Specialist Nam had spent 2 months preparing the asteroid belt, mines disguised as rocks, weapons hidden in craters, automated defense platforms that looked like space debris. Now he activated them all. Explosions blossomed throughout the pirate fleet. Ships collided with mines they never saw. Automated fired from asteroids, sending tungsten rods through hulls. The tight formation that had looked so impressive became a death trap as ships crashed into each other trying to evade. 40 ships died in the first minute. 60 more were damaged. The warlord screamed orders, but his fleet was in chaos. Now, Admiral Sora said calmly, all ships attack pattern Omega. The human fleet turned and charged. 40 ships against 260. But these weren't conquered vessels designed for peaceful patrols. These were warships built by a species that had fought wars for thousands of years. Every weapon was designed for maximum efficiency. Every tactic had been tested in blood. Bay's fingers flew across her console. Firing solution locked, missiles away. The Soul's Pride launched every missile it had. Across the fleet, other ships did the same. Hundreds of missiles filled the space between the two forces. They fired their own weapons, confident their numbers would win. They were wrong. The human missiles were smart. They dodged return fire. They coordinated with each other. They targeted weak points in enemy shields. And when they hit hard. Each missile carried a warhead designed to crack Earth's toughest bunkers. Against pirate shields, they were devastating. More ships died. The warlord's flagship took 3 missiles and shuddered. Its shields flickered. Marines ready for boarding action, Park reported from the Soul's Pride. If any of them get close. But the pirates weren't getting close. They were dying. The human ships moved through space like sharks, fast and deadly. Every shot was precise. Every maneuver was calculated. This wasn't the first time humanity had fought a numerically superior force. History had taught them well. Doctor's broadcasts continued. "You're losing. Look at your fleet. Half destroyed in 30 minutes. And we haven't even used Earth's planetary defenses yet. You can still leave. Or you can die here, forgotten and unmourned." On the Warlord's flagship, the bridge crew was panicking. Some argued to retreat. Others demanded they fight to the death. The Warlord himself said nothing, staring at the screens in disbelief. Admiral Sara watched the battle unfold. They were breaking. She could see it in their movements, in their communications. Fear was spreading through their fleet faster than weapons fire. "Admiral, the Warlord's flagship is trying to withdraw," an officer reported. "Let it," Sora said. "Target the ships that keep fighting." The battle raged for another hour. By the end, only 80 ships remained intact. The rest were destroyed or crippled. The Warlord's flagship retreated, shields failing, hull breached in a dozen places. "Should we pursue?" Commander asked over the fleet channel. "Negative," Admiral Sora replied. "Let them go. Let them tell others what happened here." As the surviving pirates fled into faster-than-light travel, the human fleet regrouped. They had lost 2 ships. 68 crew members had died. Against 300 enemies, it was a miracle the losses weren't worse. On Earth, in every city, people celebrated. They had defended their home. The children had proven they could protect themselves. In space, ship approached slowly. The ambassador appeared on Admiral Sora's screen, his feathers raised in shock and awe. "You won," he said simply. "Against impossible odds, you won." "We protected our home," Sora replied. "What else could we do?" The conquered watched the battle. Every species saw what happened. You destroyed 200 ships. You faced an enemy we feared for decades, and you broke them in hours. Paused. "Some will be more afraid of you now. But others, Admiral, others will finally understand." "Understand what?" "That peace needs strength to survive. That kindness is not weakness. That humanity, for all your frightening power, fights not for conquest but for protection." Feathers glowed softly. "The Council is meeting now. I believe their vote will be different this time." Sora nodded. "We're not the monsters they think we are." "No," agreed. "You're the guardians they need." As Earth turned slowly beneath the stars, the Warlord sat in his damaged ship and shook with rage and fear. He had lost 2/3 of his fleet. His reputation was ruined, and he had a prisoner in his brig, a human marine captured during a boarding attempt. He went to see this human, wanting to understand how such creatures could be so deadly. The marine sat calmly in the cell, a young woman with fierce eyes. "You should have run," she told the Warlord. "We gave you a chance." "Your world will burn," the Warlord snarled. "I will return with more ships." The Marine smiled. "You do that, we'll be waiting." The Warlord left, but her words haunted him. He knew the truth. He would never attack Earth again. No pirate would. They had proven themselves. The Grand Council chamber of the Galactic Concord had never been so full. Representatives from all 47 member species crowded into the vast space. Humans stood to one side, a small group among thousands of aliens. Ambassador Lee felt the weight of countless eyes upon her. The council speaker, an ancient being that looked like a floating crystal, called the session to order. "We gather to vote on the status of humanity within the Concord. After recent events, this decision cannot wait." Murmurs filled the chamber. Recent events. Everyone knew what that meant. The Battle of Earth, the destruction of the fleet, the sight of 40 human ships defeating 300 enemies. The recordings had been watched across the galaxy. Some species were amazed, others were terrified. A representative from the species stood. They looked like walking plants, tall and thin with leaves instead of hair. "The humans are too dangerous. We have seen what they can do. They destroyed 200 ships in a single battle. What happens when they turn that violence on us?" Started to respond, but Captain Minu touched her arm, shaking his head slightly. "Not yet. Let them talk." Another representative rose, a small blue creature with many eyes. "The speaks from fear, not wisdom. The humans defended their home. They attacked no one who did not attack them first. They even let the warlord escape when they could have destroyed him." "Mercy or weakness?" the challenged. "How do we know?" "Because we know something about mercy that you have forgotten." Ambassador stood, his purple feathers bright in the chamber's light. "When they attacked IV, they killed 300 of my people. The conquered defense force could not stop them. We begged for help, but no one came, except humanity." He turned to face the assembly. Commander arrived with a single ship, one ship against 6 pirate vessels. He could have run. He could have waited for reinforcements. Instead, he fought. He saved my people, and when it was over, he offered to teach us how to defend ourselves. "That proves nothing," another voice called out. "Today they save, tomorrow they conquer. History shows us this pattern." Decided it was time to speak. She stepped forward into the center of the chamber. "You're right, history does show us patterns. Let me tell you about human history." She activated a holographic display. Images of Earth appeared, rotating slowly. "This is our world. You call it a Class 12, we call it home. For millions of years it tried to kill us. Predators hunted us. Diseases infected us. Weather destroyed our shelters. Starvation stalked us. We learned to fight because we had to." New images appeared. Humans building tools. Humans making fire. Humans creating the first weapons. "We fought nature and we won. We became the dominant species on our planet, and then we turned on each other." The images darkened. Wars, battles, destruction. The assembled aliens made sounds of distress. "For thousands of years we fought ourselves, tribe against tribe, nation against nation. We created weapons of terrible power. We nearly destroyed ourselves several times." Paused, letting the images sink in. "You look at our history and see monsters. We look at it and see our greatest shame, because we learned something through all that pain and death. We learned that violence is easy, peace is hard, and peace is worth fighting for." She changed the images. Now they showed humans helping each other, building together, exploring together. 70 years ago, we ended our last major war. Since then, we have lived in global peace. Not because we forgot how to fight, but because we chose not to. We turned our strength outward to the stars, hopping to find others who shared our dream of a peaceful universe. A new image appeared. People on IV celebrating their rescue. "We found the conquered. We found species who had never known war, who built a civilization on cooperation and kindness. It was everything we had hoped for. And when we saw it threatened, we did what we have always done. We protected those who could not protect themselves." The representative spoke again, but with less certainty. "Your words are beautiful, Ambassador Lee, but words are not proof." "Then let me offer proof," Captain Minu said, stepping forward. "After first contact, I filed a detailed report. In it, I recommended that humanity adopt conquered values and laws. I suggested we limit our military technology when operating in conquered space. I proposed that human soldiers undergo cultural training to avoid frightening our new allies." He looked around the chamber. "Every human in conquered space has followed these guidelines. We have been insulted. We have been feared. We have been called monsters to our faces. And we have responded with patience and kindness, because we want this to work." Dr. Park stepped forward next. "I study life. I've spent my career understanding how different species adapt and survive. The conquered is unique in the galaxy. 47 species living together in harmony. It's beautiful, it's precious, and it's fragile." She gestured at the assembled aliens. "You built this civilization during a time of relative peace. They were a nuisance, not a real threat. But the galaxy is bigger than the conquered. There are dangers you haven't faced yet, species more aggressive than humans, threats we can barely imagine. Your civilization needs to be ready." Admiral Sora stepped forward, her uniform crisp and decorated with medals. "I am a warrior. I have been trained to fight since I was young. I have commanded fleets in battle, and I am telling you now with complete honesty that I never want to fight again." The chamber was silent. Sora continued, "War is horror, war is waste, war is failure. Every battle I've won represents a diplomatic failure, a failure to find peace. But sometimes evil doesn't want peace. Sometimes protection requires strength, not because we love violence, but because we love what we protect." She looked directly at the council speaker. "The conquered can vote to expel humanity. We will leave peacefully. But then what? Who will protect you when the next warlord comes? Who will stand between your children and the dark?" Ambassador stood again. "I would like to propose something. Not expulsion, not full membership yet, but a new role. Make humanity the shepherds of the conquered. Let them train our defense forces. Let them patrol our borders. Let them be the shield that protects our peaceful civilization." "You would put weapons in their hands?" the asked, shocked. "They already have weapons," said gently. "I propose we give them purpose, direction, trust, and in return we teach them about our culture, our values, our way of peace. We learn from each other." The council speaker's crystal body glowed brightly. "This is an unusual proposal. We have never had a species dedicated to protection before." "You've never needed one before," said. "But times are changing. The galaxy is bigger than you know, and humanity would be honored to serve." The vote took 3 hours. Representatives debated, argued, questioned. But slowly opinion shifted. Fear gave way to understanding. Distrust gave way to hope. Finally, the council speaker called for the final vote. "All in favor of humanity becoming shepherds of the conquered, with full membership pending review in 5 standard cycles." Lights appeared across the chamber as representatives voted. One by one they lit up, green for yes, red for no, held her breath. When the count finished, 39 species had voted yes, 8 voted no. Humanity had won. The chamber erupted in sound. Some cheered. Some made their species equivalent of applause. Even some who had voted no looked relieved. Approached, his feathers high and bright. "Welcome, Shepherd Lee. You have much work ahead." "We're ready," said, feeling tears on her cheeks. "Thank you for believing in us." That night on Concord Station, Sigma sat in the cafeteria with a group of aliens. They were his, beings he had worked alongside for months. They had been afraid of him once. Now they were friends. One asked, a small with bright green feathers, "Are you really as dangerous as they say?" Thought about it. He thought about Earth with its storms and predators. He thought about human history stained with violence. He thought about the Battle of Earth, ships exploding in the dark. Then he thought about this moment, sharing a meal with friends under alien stars. "Only to those who threaten our friends," he said with a smile. The feathers rose in their version of a laugh. "Then I am glad to be your friend." Across the galaxy on Earth, Admiral Sora stood at a cemetery. Row after row of markers honored those who had died defending their world. 68 names, 68 families mourning, the price of victory. "We won," she said to the silent graves. "Not just the battle, we won a place among the stars. We became protectors instead of conquerors. You would have been proud." The wind blew softly, carrying the scent of flowers planted by grieving families. Sora saluted the graves and walked away. There was work to do, ships to rebuild, soldiers to train, a galaxy to protect. Humanity had come to the stars hopping to find peace. Instead, they found people who needed protection. And in protecting them, they found something even better. They found purpose. They found family. They found home. The children had become the guardians of the gentle. The warriors became shepherds. The feared became loved. And the galaxy slowly began to understand that sometimes the strongest are also the kindest. In the darkness between stars, the warlord fled with his broken fleet. He would tell other pirates, other predators about the humans, about the who fought like demons but showed mercy like saints. Word would spread, and those who would harm the innocent would learn to fear a simple truth. Humanity had arrived, and the galaxy would never be the same.